So I have a presentation. Good evening, everybody. I hope this is not too late for you, and I'm very happy to see a full auditorium. It's my great pleasure. I thank the organizers for calling me and giving me this opportunity. All right, the presentation is loaded. So I'm Thiru, Srinivasan. I head the government of Tamil Nadu's EV task force, and I will explain what that means, why we are doing that, and the importance of this. And I'm also the CEO of a Center for Advanced Automotive Research that has been a society that's floated by IIT Madras to develop more automotive research in the country. So I'll touch upon that also. So the topic is leading the EV revolution in India, looking at the future, and the future is here. We already have it in front of us. So, India, even before electrification, we have a huge potential for selling automotive vehicles. We have 59 vehicles per 1,000 people in this country, where China is 250, and now it's pretty close to 300 plus per 1,000 people. And you look at Japan and all the other countries, the developed countries, it's anywhere from 600 to 800, and of course US is well beyond 800. So as a growing nation, we definitely want to see a lot more vehicles. That will be the direction that India will move. Obviously the question is, do we have enough roads for that, and we keep building roads. But the tendency is going to be to get more vehicles. So that is the huge opportunity. Tamil Nadu industry is been very, very strong in this area. The number one state in the number of factories, that is the number one state. We are a very big manufacturing state. And in the electronics exports, we have moved on to be number one, making cell phones, Apple phones, and everything. And 35% of all India automobiles are made in Tamil Nadu. And with electric vehicles, recent quarter, we made 70% of all electric two-wheelers that were sold in this country were made in this state. And overall on EVs, we are well past 40% of the electric vehicles that are being sold in the country. We have a very large, educated and aspiring workforce, and I'll talk about that. The number of colleges, the polytechnics, and we also have a very advanced R&D ecosystem in the country, in the state. The challenge that we have in states like Tamil Nadu and the western part of the country is the population is starting to reduce now. We're not having that many children, and even if we have children, we are having them slightly later. So the population is coming down. And not only that, most of the workforce in the state want to work in very high-value jobs. Many of you are entrepreneurs trying to hire local workers to work in entry-level jobs is becoming extremely difficult. You have to bring people from other states, right? So either we complain and bring people from other states, sometimes we have to do that, or we modify our business to suit more of the local working population. And that is where electric vehicles gives us a very big advantage. EV is a priority for Tamil Nadu. TVS, Royal Enfield, Yamaha, Ather Energy, Ola, you name it. There's a whole list of companies that are already manufacturing vehicles, particularly electric vehicles in Tamil Nadu. Recently, TI Clean Mobility started manufacturing a little over a year ago. You may have seen the Mantra three-wheelers and others. And then you have car manufacturers. Every other month, we are getting an announcement of a new car manufacturer coming into the country, and especially in Tamil Nadu. And JLR, VinFast, and Ford are all focused on exports. And Ashok Leyland, Switch Mobility, Eicher, Propel Industries, right here in Coimbatore, and IPL Tech are all into very large commercial vehicles. And of course, Tafe, Celestial, and Caterpillar are into off-road vehicles, including farm vehicles. So the benefit with electric vehicle, if you are an IC engine manufacturer, if you're making engines, trying to break that into the top of the world is very difficult because there's years of experience that the Germans and others have, and trying to break in is going to be a huge hassle. But with electrification, we are now starting at the same level as the Chinese or anybody else. Of course, the Chinese are starting to break away from us. So electric vehicles gives us an opportunity to build an industry that could be world-class. In Coimbatore, we have world-class industries in textiles, we have world-class industries in valves for control valves and things like that, casting, you name it. There are multiple areas where we lead the world. Here is another opportunity to lead the world for EVs. And I've been traveling to Coimbatore for the last 2 years, again and again, trying to evangelize this. The target for Tamil Nadu is $69 billion industry for EVs by 2029, 2030, in which $40 billion will be electric vehicle manufacturing. A significant portion of that is two-wheelers. And $23 billion in components that we can export, over and above what we consume in our own vehicles that we manufacture. And $6 billion in advanced R&D that we can do. We have worked the numbers. Today we sell 20 million two-wheelers across the country. We think that is going to go to about 60 million two-wheelers, out of which 70% we want to be able to make sure they are electric vehicles, out of which 40% we want to make sure that they're made in Tamil Nadu. So we're being very conservative, right? This number that I'm throwing here at $40 billion in vehicle manufacturing, $69 billion overall industry, is a very conservative number. Knowing what Tamil Nadu can do, we can definitely beat this number, okay? So that is why, in the first of the kind, in any state in the country, Tamil department, FAME-TN, which is the MSME department, Startup Tamil Nadu, you heard the Startup Tamil Nadu leaders speak earlier this morning, SIPCOT, CITCO, TNSTC, IIT Madras, Anna University, TNIFMC is into investments, and TIDCO again establishes university research parks. The first one happened in Coimbatore recently, and TANGETCO. So the idea is to make sure whatever it takes, any problem, any hurdle that is limiting the EV industry, we solve it immediately. We meet every Tuesday, and we try to come up with a way. And we have tremendous support. We have WRI that has been working in Coimbatore quite a bit. We have RMI who is very much engaging, and many more. And we are working across the sector, not just with OEMs. We are working with people who are into service sector, people who are into tier 1, motor manufacturer. We work with everybody. So we do business facilitation. So we make sure that there are connects between the various layers, tier 1s, OEMs. We work on skilling. We have done a lot of work in building enough skilled people, training people who are already in the industry and who want to come into EV, and also making sure that we can train youngsters who want to enter the industry. And we're doing a lot of work with TNSTC on that, the non-Mudalvan scheme. Ecosystem development, Coimbatore EV cluster, we have done a lot of work on that, and a common facility center with 10 crore investment, 9 crore from the government and 1 crore from Codicea-based industries is happening in Coimbatore. So any motor, electric motor testing, any power electronics testing, you should be able to go and get it done at a reasonable cost and ready availability right here in Coimbatore. And we are doing that across the state. Policy and advocacy on changes in the policy we are doing. Production support for industrial estates, even plug and play, we are doing that. And infrastructure development. Whatever test facilities that we need, we are developing them, and research parks. Coimbatore has happened, Madurai is happening, and we are proposing one in Hosur. So this is happening across the state. Generally, people say, what is the difference? Let me see, we can quickly go through this. Okay. The number of components between an IC engine vehicle and an electric vehicle are very vastly different. Many machine components are going away. If you're in an industry where there's a lot of machining that you're doing, and particularly for the auto industry, be aware that this is going away. do whatever you can to pivot and build another industry, maybe making tools and other things, because most of the engine components are going to go away as electrification happens. And similarly with the exhaust manifolds, it's completely gone. But there are other opportunities that are coming up. That's what's important. We feel in terms of developing solutions for the industry, anything that reduces the energy that you're using for a per kilometer of movement, we call it watt hour per kilometer, any reduction will help. For that, reduce the weight, increase the payload. Any software-driven vehicles, there's a huge amount of activity that we are doing with many companies in Coimbatore on developing these software-driven vehicle aspects. We are working on motor. Motor is a very big opportunity for Coimbatore. We are promoting Coimbatore as the motor center for the EV industry, for the world. A lot of work is being done on that. Same thing on the controller and also on the charger. Battery and BMS and telematics are the other areas. Telematics is a very, very big opportunity for Coimbatore also. Cells, rare earth magnets, PCBs, bus bars, connectors, sensors, a lot of opportunity. Again, improving the motor efficiency. Cells getting higher life in tropical conditions. And smart fast chargers. Ubiquitous charging. We are working on wireless charging across the state. There's a huge demand coming up. That's an area, that's a new area, there's a new demand. The whole industry is moving towards wireless charging. And electronics integration. Investment in critical raw materials, whether it's rare earths or electrical steel. You may be surprised that in Tamil Nadu, we have the first rare earth processing facility that's coming up, manufacturing. It's coming up. So you don't have to depend on China. It's happening here in the Manappare region. Okay. And repurposing, repairing, servicing, and recycling. Recycling is a very big opportunity. And Coimbatore is known to make equipment. We make textile equipment for the world. And there's a huge amount of opportunity in making a lot of process and testing technologies here. Thank you. I just will spend a few more minutes talking about the Center for Advanced Automotive Research in IIT Madras. Center for Advanced Automotive Research in IIT Madras works on what we call translational technologies. If you go into a university, they will work on concept, okay, and it will be very focused in one particular area. They'll say, okay, how do I improve the thermal design for something like this? Many a times they'll write a paper and then they can't go beyond that. What we encourage is, if you look at countries like Germany and China and other places, there are organizations that will take that technology and bring it closer to an industry adoption. That is lacking in India. That is why Center for Advanced Automotive Research was formed. So industry can come to us with their problems, and we will take what has been already developed in India at the concept level and bring the solution to you, doing all the intermediary, what we call translational research. We'll get that done. Today we focus on many of the areas that I mentioned. In dynamics, we are doing a lot of work because the vehicle architectures are changing. Whether it is braking, whether it is steering, whether it is suspension, there's a huge amount of changes that are happening. We are also working on battery characterization, on motor development, very lightweight hub motors so that it could be adapted in all the vehicles. We work on software-defined vehicle technologies. We work on manufacturing technologies, and we work on power electronics. So these are the core areas that we're currently focusing. So reach out to me on that, but when it comes to the Tamil Nadu EV sector, any help you need, reach out to me. I will leave my numbers with people here. Okay, or you can write to ev@fametn.com. We'll be able to get the answer. Any questions?
Yes, we have a question from the audience.
Hi, good evening. Thank you.
Yes.
Just one question is, there's a lot of research going on the nitrogen-powered vehicles. So how you foresee it's affecting the EV vehicles in the future?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. It may be a little controversial what I say. Um, Hydrogen is a carrier of energy and it competes with the battery. The problem with the battery, the lithium ion battery today, is it takes a long time to charge. And it also has, at least in the early days when the technology was not very mature, it also had a chance of running into a thermal runaway. There are two problems that the industry has been facing. The thermal runaway problem is pretty much gone with a lot of regulations and quality improvements that have come into play. The charging is still a problem. You need minimum half hour to charge a vehicle. That is where hydrogen comes into play. The problem with hydrogen is 70% of the energy you put into creating hydrogen does not become valuable. Only 30% becomes valuable in your vehicle. So the energy cost is very high. And also, pumping hydrogen requires a high pressure, and sometimes even liquefaction, at least low temperature and high pressure. You have to reduce the temperature and pressure. That's a lot of cost and requires infrastructure. Finally, hydrogen is essentially just a proton. It can enter into any small gap in any material. So the tanks and the pipelines that you need to make hydrogen is extremely expensive. That is a very difficult technology. So for mobility, personally, my personal opinion, it's a square wheel. It is not a suitable technology for mobility. There are a lot of big players who are pushing for various reasons, but as an individual who tries to understand technology, I find that not suitable. Interestingly, the energy density and the charge rates are really reducing rapidly. So you're able to charge very fast. A lot of good technology is happening. So I think battery electric vehicles are going to be the reality, not hydrogen. Hydrogen may have its niche areas where it may work. I was at the show in Delhi. The number of electric vehicles and the number of subsystems launches in the EV sector is just phenomenal. So this year is going to be a significant uptick in the adoption of electrification across the sector. Okay.
Yes.
It may be controversial.
But I think that is a practical answer and expert answer from Mr. Thiru Srinivasan. I think we have run out of time for any more questions. Yeah, we have 1 more minute if at all there are any more questions related to this topic. Yes.
Hi, good afternoon here. So my name is Vinod Gopalakrishnan. I'm a little investor here in the field of technology and construction here.
Nice.
And great presentation here. And by the way, and it's good to know a little bit of technicals in your presentation. And good job on pushing your EV thing out in the Tamil Nadu area and also the battery and all the components here. So my question is, I know one of the guest members here, he talked about the hydrogen powered vehicles. I'm wondering about the CNG, and then what's your thoughts on that? And then what's your gut feel on the future of the Tamil Nadu or probably India in terms of the mobility major driver in terms of lithium-ion or CNG or the nitrogen?
Okay.
Thank you.
I think CNG is definitely very, very important. The nice thing about CNG is it does reduce the running cost, just like electric does. And it's a very well-proven technology where you're able to handle CNG and everything. So I think CNG has its use in areas where the charging time could be utilized and made money. But in the long run, in about a couple years, I feel the lower running cost of electric compared to CNG. And what's also happening is the cost of battery is coming down. So the initial cost of the electric vehicle is also going to be very close to the IC engine cost. It's already happening in the two-wheelers. It's already happening in the two-wheelers in many areas. By the end of the year, two-wheelers will not require subsidy and will be able to compete with the only challenge is it does take some time to charge. Even though the charging rates are improving, that will always be a hurdle for somebody who drives all the time. In those cases, CNG is a definite plus. I feel CNG will pick up Electric will pick up faster and electric will overtake CNG and CNG will continue to be a significant presence.